Director here. Hope you're doing well. So, over the past day, there has been a major uptick in these cyber events. In some cases, confirmed cyber attacks. In other cases, we're not exactly being told what's going on, but let's just get right into it. So, today, AT&T customers in the United States were hit by widespread cellular outages. Now, you might think that happens all the time. It's not a big deal, but it was more than 100,000 people affected when you add it all up. There were also Verizon and T-Mobile customers who were affected. And while that might not sound like a big deal, you can't make a phone call, you can't make a text, you don't have mobile data. Of course, that probably is a big deal for a lot of the TikTok-brained individuals in the United States, who probably freak out when they can't have access to their phone. More importantly, we had the 911 system out for millions, emergency system crashing for millions nationwide. So, look, it is a big deal. If you're suffering a medical emergency, if you're having a heart attack or you just broke your leg and you go to make a phone call and you can't do it, and that's not really the time that you want to be troubleshooting your phone. So this is actually a really big deal. And we're going to get into a little bit of what might be driving this today. A lot of speculation as to what's behind this outage. It's not officially denied that it's a cyber attack. It's not confirmed that it is either. I've heard everything from solar flares to infrastructure problems. And one thing you can kind of take away from this is if it's not a cyber attack and we just have an aging, delicate infrastructure that manages to take itself down sometimes, that in and of itself is a huge risk, right? It shows you how vulnerable we are to cyber attacks. But it's kind of hard to assume that this is not cyber related when you put it against the backdrop of what's going on. I mean, the FBI director just warned us that cyber attacks from China on U.S. critical infrastructure, something we need to really be on the lookout for here. And it's not just that. We've also got this. Look at this. Today, Change Healthcare coming under a cyber attack. Pharmacies nationwide reporting outages in wake of this incident. Yeah, pharmacies getting hit too. I see some folks in the chat putting that in there, and it's true. This cyber attack, which was first detected on Wednesday morning, so yesterday morning, has affected the ability for many of these pharmacies to fill prescriptions. So you've got 911 disrupted, you've got cell phone services disrupted, you've got the healthcare system coming under attack. It says in a statement here, Change Healthcare said, Change Healthcare is experiencing a network interruption related to a cybersecurity issue, and our experts are working to address the matter. Once we became aware of the outside threat, in the interest of protecting our partners and patients, we took immediate action to disconnect our systems to prevent further impact. But they disconnect their systems, then you can't get your prescription filled. So definitely a major problem for those of us who are dependent on drugs to keep ourselves alive. Yeah, exactly. Someone in the chat here says, what if diabetics can't get insulin? And I'm sure that it hasn't come to that just yet. However, we were, again, just warned by the FBI director 4 days ago that cyber attacks on U.S. infrastructure are now at an unprecedented scale. So, you tell me if this is a big problem or not. Of course, there's a lot of reasons that we stack hard assets, gold and silver, inflation hedge. They're undervalued at the moment, if you ask me. So it can be kind of hard to find an undervalued asset. But also, you got to keep in mind when you witness these disruptions to services, these are like off-grid money. This, if anything, this outage that we're witnessing with cell phones today, if it's not a result of a cyber attack, it shows us just how vulnerable our systems are. And you probably won't be told when a major cyber attack kicks off. There's this story I saw. Did a solar flare cause the AT&T outage? A space weather expert weighs in. Well, maybe that was it, although I read that it has something to do with a SIM card database registry issue. So it's hard to imagine how that would be related to a solar flare. That sounds more like a software problem to me. I'm not really a tech guy, but I don't think that solar flares would affect SIM card registries. It's more likely that this is someone getting in there and tampering with this stuff. And again, this is a reason to have some physical assets, but there's more that you need to do to get prepared for this. Yeah, Roman Empire Metals in the chat there says false flag more than likely. Well, now that I said those words, I don't know if the algorithm's going to like this video very much, but it is possible that this could be some kind of a test run, some kind of a probing, whether or not it be one of those FF incidents or not. It could be legitimate, could be a probing attack, right? Just trying some stuff out, starting off small, dipping your toes in the water. But again, you want to have some hard assets in light of this. What if you wake up tomorrow and you can't log into your bank account? What if your bank is fine, but you can't access your funds because your cell phone doesn't work? Maybe you have a two-party authentication. And you can't all of a sudden receive an SMS text message to log into your brokerage account or your bank account. It really reveals just how vulnerable these digital assets, which the bulk of our financial system relies on, really are. And again, it takes you back to one of the number one reasons why you want to have some physical gold and silver, that these don't have the counterparty risk. You don't need a cell phone network to use these. Even, Bitcoin, people like to say is, something that preppers might be interested in, some digital currency. And there is some advantages to that. You can take your passcode for your Bitcoin, hop on a plane, and go ahead and take, millions of dollars with you across borders. But if the internet doesn't work, if the cell phones don't work, then Bitcoin kind of loses some of its luster. So I think that's a good reason to have some physical assets, whether it be, silver dollars or gold backs. If you want something that's really suitable for trading off grid, then I think it's hard to beat gold backs or maybe junk silver. I know that folks are kind of divided on that, junk silver too. I'm wondering, does anybody have one of these cards? This is something I got from Silver Botanicals last year when they were doing the promotion with the channel here, where you could get one of those if you ordered using the coupon code. Oh, also a brief update on that. Silver Botanicals, I'm still partnered up with them. You can still get a 10% discount over there on their household and personal hygiene products, but there is a new coupon code that you'll have to use. It's a Stacker, but with 3 S's. So you can see that down in the description of this video if you're interested. And at the same time, if you want to get some gold or silver, some off-grid money, make sure you check out today's video sponsor, SD Bullion. Right now, new customers can still get gold or silver at spot by visiting sdbullion.com/news. So check them out. Now, again, are you going to go to the grocery store and buy something with, a gold back? Well, maybe if you live in one of the states that has them, but just because the cell phone network goes down doesn't mean that that's going to happen. But, you also want to have some cash on hand. And also, let's say there was some kind of a prolonged grid down scenario, even if it was just disruptions to internet and cell service. Let's say power remains on. Well, I think that could create a lot of panic, and I think it could create a lot of skepticism surrounding the value of paper money. So, nobody really knows exactly what would happen if such an event were to play out, but it's likely would be worse today than ever before, as we're more dependent on the telecommunication networks, and we are more dependent on our cell phones than ever before. 20 years ago, I had a landline in my house. A lot of people did, I think, but who has those today? I don't have one anymore. Everything is done, cell phone, internet. And while this has made our economy, more efficient, we're all more connected than ever before, it also means that we are very vulnerable. Now, I also want to talk about why it's very likely that we will experience cyber attacks in an increasing nature moving forward. And I've warned about this on this channel for, months now. And as we delve into this expanding conflict around the world, I think this is something we really need to be aware of. The World Economic Forum, for example, they talked about this stuff endlessly at Davos this year and last year. There's been a lot of warnings. They polled cybersecurity experts, and a lot of them seem to think that a major cyber attack was at least possible. And we need to be prepared for those potential outcomes. Here's a potential reason why we might be coming under cyber attack. You have got Iran accusing Israel of sabotage after they had some explosions in their natural gas pipelines. Now, in the reports I've read, this is one from MarketWatch, doesn't really tell you what kind of explosions, or I'm sorry, what kind of sabotage they were talking about. Is it somebody on the ground with an explosive device blowing up the pipeline, or was it a cyber attack? There's a lot of ways you could create a lot of havoc in the physical world through a cyber attack. You can go into one of these gas pipelines and turn off the pressure release valves, adjust certain characteristics. I mean, again, I don't operate a natural gas pipeline, but I'm sure that if you get control of one via a cyber attack, there's a lot of bad things that could happen. And, as we watch this play out, I think we need to be concerned about, potential retaliation. Groups like Iran, like Russia, like China, they have invested a lot in their cyber warfare capabilities. And as we head towards a looming conflict with them, well, it's just natural to expect that they might target, our critical infrastructure. Again, this is not conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat stuff. This is the FBI director warning us that this is something we have to watch out for. He said that malware already placed inside critical infrastructure networks is now at a scale greater than we've seen before, and he deems it a defining national security threat. Yeah, I see some folks in the chat talking about that movie on Netflix. Was it Leave the World Behind? Now, was that predictive programming? I mean, that was about a major grid down cyber attack. Look, big trader in the chat, you don't necessarily have to trust the FBI, but when they're warning you about cyber attacks, whether it's again predictive programming, let's say you don't trust them, or you trust them implicitly, and now you just say you have to be worried about China rather than an internal threat. Either way, I think it's something we can take note of and get prepared for. Regardless of how you feel about them, when they start telling you that there are intrusions into our critical infrastructure on a scale that is unprecedented, I think that it would be somewhat foolish to just dismiss that. So, getting some hard assets outside of the digital financial system, some things that, look, there's a lot of reason to have gold and silver anyway, even if there is never a cyber attack. You got to be careful about economic collapse, bail-ins, all these things. A lot of the regional banks in the United States are insolvent. A lot of the big banks may be insolvent as well, but they're guaranteed bailouts. Of course, that means that your fiat currency is going to be devalued. But perhaps scariest of all is that, poof, it's gone. Like in that episode of South Park, you deposit your money into your brokerage and it's gone. And that is the sort of thing that is a real possibility. I think maybe folks out there disregard this because of the truly ominous implications of what it would mean to have a cyber attack on our critical infrastructure, especially our financial infrastructure. You might think about electricity, water, gas, all of these things when you think about critical infrastructure, but how about the banking system? And again, you can't rule out the possibility that there could be some kind of subterfuge. An event like this could be used as cover for something. The banking system gets wiped out by a cyber attack. Oh no, now we got to have a CBDC. I mean, this is all just speculation on my part, but this is all things you got to be prepared for. And again, one of the best ways to insulate yourself from this is to have some hard, tangible assets. And if you're a stacker and you like the heavy bars, there's nothing wrong with those. Of course, I think those are a great long-term store of value. I like bars myself quite a bit. None of this is financial advice, of course. I'm just kind of telling you what my thoughts on it. But you might also want to have some more divisible stuff, whether that be some old silver dollars or some 1 ounce silver rounds, or if you're really looking for something that is designed to be used as a currency here in the 21st century, that is a physical metal without counterparty risk, you might really take a solid look at goldbacks. Of all the things you're looking at here on the table, this one is actually used by a number of businesses. If you live in one of the states where they have goldbacks, there's already businesses that accept them. There's more businesses in Utah that accept goldbacks already than Bitcoin. So think about that. This is also something I think it's important to consider is, what would you do to communicate after your cell phones go down, after the internet doesn't work? I've had a few people in the chat and recent videos talking to me about radio communications. And I know this is sort of far afield from the normal subject matter that we cover here, but I think it's kind of germane to the conversation because just as gold and silver are off grid money, there are some things you can look at for off grid communication. This is one I wanted to share with you. It's called Meshtastic. And this is something I'm not super familiar with. I'm not an expert on it, but I'm kind of getting into it. And I just wanted to ask if those of you watching would be interested in some more content on this sort of thing. I know, again, it's kind of divergent from the precious metals, but it is germane in the sense that it is off-grid communications to go hand in hand with your off-grid metals. And I'm not affiliated with Meshtastic in any way or anything like that. It's just something I've been looking at. But basically, this is a system where you can use these small Internet of Things devices to set up nodes that can communicate with each other via radio. They send encrypted text-based messages via radio from cell phone to cell phone. So I'm thinking about investing in a little bit of hardware for this, and just wanted to ask if all of you watching would be interested in seeing some more content on this. I mean, there's a ton of good YouTube channels that specialize in this stuff. I wouldn't be offering you tutorials or anything like that, but just kind of sharing with you what I'm doing moving forward. And today's events, I think, illustrate why something like having some off-grid alternative communications, whether that be as some people in the chat here said, GMRS radios or ham radios, or perhaps something like Meshtastic. But anyway, these are all things that we need to consider moving forward because it is very likely that these are not going to be isolated events, and you might wake up tomorrow and not have the ability to use your cell phone, to use SMS text. But when that happens, it's very possible that it might be too late to get prepared for that sort of thing after that event takes place. I mean, could that be the big one? Look, I have no idea, but as we head towards a global conflict, which will involve fifth generational warfare, including cyber warfare on critical infrastructure, I think it's more important than ever before to consider kind of holistic preparedness because, yes, gold and silver is good. I know everybody out there likes to talk about food and security devices and all those things, and that's all very important too. But communication is critical. And, if you're left in the dark in a major event, could be very tough to get prepared once these networks that we rely on go down. Armin Clark in the chat there says he's a crypto nut, not scared at all, but he's got some gold and silver too. And yeah, look, if you are into crypto, nothing wrong with crypto. If you don't have any hard assets though, for all the reasons that you are into cryptocurrency, it might be wise to at least have a small position in gold and silver physical assets that you can access even when the grid is down. Now, thank you, Metals here. I appreciate that. I appreciate the super chat. And hey, listen, I appreciate everybody who watches these live streams and supports with super chats, sharing the videos. Do me a favor though, if you're watching, I've got 259 people in the live stream. We've got 85 thumbs up. Just smash the like button real quick. I appreciate it so much. It's very important to spread this information out there because look, even when we are on the verge of a major cyber attack, yeah, they might kind of tell you what's up with the FBI director, leaking out some information, telling you that something is coming. But just as they may kind of do a little bit of that, telling you what's coming, it's also very likely that we will never know when the big one is about to hit. As with this cell phone outage, so far no reports on whether this is the result of a cyber attack or a glitch or what. We really don't know what is behind it. But the job of the authorities, of the people in charge, is to prevent panic. You got to understand that if there's even if they knew a major cyber attack was coming, you would not know. You would not be privy to that, nor would I. And so, you got to do what you can to get prepared. And you've got to understand that it's likely that if something like this plays out, it will come as a surprise. And we've been warned, there is malware being placed on U.S. critical infrastructure. That likely includes telecommunications, healthcare, finance, actual physical real world infrastructure as well. And we're more connected as a society than ever before. You could conceivably control a lot of things via hacking. How many Internet of Things devices do you have in your house? If you have a Wi-Fi network? How many devices are connected to it? A lot more than, a couple years ago. Someone says, what about the flares? Well, I guess there are some solar flares going on, although, again, it's hard to imagine how that would affect SIM card registries. And you would think if it was related to that, then it would be all of the major carriers, not just AT&T, who seems to be experiencing the bulk of the outages. It's AT&T and Cricket Wireless, one of their kind of piggybacked networks that more than 70,000 AT&T customers and something like more than 10,000 Cricket Wireless customers were affected. Now, again, it also appears that for the most part, service is being restored. But no, we don't know for sure if it was a cyber attack, Jason. There's not a lot of information available at the moment, although it does seem awfully suspicious that we are seeing a major cyber attack on the healthcare system and the pharmacies today. We know that that is confirmed to be a cyber attack and a cyber incident. The FBI director just told us that we need to be getting prepared for cyber attacks, and then today more than 100,000 people lose cell service and millions lose access to 911 emergency communications. It seems like an awfully big coincidence. But anyway, let me know what you think about this event down in the comments below. Do you think it's a cyber attack? Do you think we could be on the verge of something major here? And what do you think is the best way to get prepared? Leave a comment down below to let me know. Please share the video, smash the like button, tell your friends, because when the big one hits here, it might be too late to get prepared. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe and happy stacking. I will catch you next time. Smart Silver Stacker, out.